Welcome back to another episode of Theory Premed. Theory Premed is a podcast following the journey of three Premed students, Mo, Todd, and Nathan. We talk about our path and experiences as we bring on guests who will connect Premeds worldwide. If you're thinking about med school or healthcare, our podcast will give you the ultimate student perspective. Also, thank you to Chapman Radio, as always, for giving us the space to record. Today, we explore the unique challenges and experiences of student athletes pursuing a career in medicine. We are joined by Cristina and Spencer, two pre-med students who are also passionate athletes. Cristina is a star soccer player known for her quick footwork and strategic thinking on the field. Spencer, on the other hand, is a powerhouse in the pool, dominating the water polo scene with his strength and endurance. We're excited to dive into their experiences and learn more about what it takes to balance the demands of competitive sports and a rigorous pre-med curriculum.
Bro is an absolute unit over here.
Are you ready for a thrilling ride? Let's get started.
Why did we have that all scripted? We never do this.
I don't
you guys.
know. I was like, let's change it up a little bit.
No, that was cool.
So this is okay. This is what you're gonna surprise us with, basically.
Yeah,
okay.
that was a surprise.
It wasn't bad at all. I
right?
liked it.
I
yeah.
it. I had Michelle help a little bit. I'll be honest.
That was cool.
Yeah, she read it over and gave me the thumbs up.
Absolutely.
Anyways, so let's talk more about our amazing guests. So one of you guys, whoever wants to go first, introduce yourself. Who
Ladies
are you?
first.
What are you doing?
I'll go first. I'm Cristina. I play for the women's soccer team here at Chapman, and I'm on the pre-med track, hoping to be in ER, probably ER trauma doc or some sort of surgeon in there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool. My name's Spencer. I play water polo here at Chapman, and I'm a bio major, pre-med. And I hope to hopefully become like a anesthesiologist or maybe a dermo. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, there's definitely a lot to explore and a lot to uncover. But we're here to talk about sports. So what got you into sports and how long have you been doing it?
I'll go first. I've been playing soccer since I was probably 4 years old.
Wow.
Actually, when I was a little baby, and literally in my mom's stomach, I would kick her, and my mom was like, yeah, she's going to be a soccer player. So I basically say I've been playing soccer since birth. But since I was 4, and then I just fell in love with it. I love that it's an outlet outside of school. I love that you get a whole community, family. You get kind of mentorship through coaching, and I just really wanted to keep doing that in college. So
Cool stuff.
Yeah.
What about you, Spencer?
I started playing water polo when I was 9. I swam before that, but once I realized there was water polo, never went back.
Swimming is boring, dude.
Swimming is so boring. You're just staring at the bottom of the pool the entire time, just back and forth, back and forth. But I pretty much played with the same team since I was 9 to about 18. And then once I started playing here, I had 2 of my friends from my high school and club team come play here too. So that was an awesome experience. And then just building that family up again here was awesome because it's just an instant group of friends, you know?
Totally.
But I've loved it here so far. Playing here is super fun.
That's awesome. Cool.
Wait, is that how it normally happens with water polo? You normally have swimmers that transition to water polo instead of people being I'm just going to go do water polo? Because I feel like it's low-key a prereq to swim first, you know? So is that how it normally works, or is it
Yeah, I feel like a lot of swimmers do go over to water polo because I know there used to not really be any I guess what
it wasn't
pre
as big as
9 and unders. Yeah, it wasn't as big. It's gotten a lot bigger the past few years.
Especially
so now they
in
have
SoCal.
younger divisions, so you can start playing earlier. But before it wasn't very big.
Dude, and those kids are crazy. It's insane. Yeah. They're unstoppable.
Just to give a little bit of context, though, I don't think many people know this, but Mo is also a water poloist.
Yeah. I played in high school, but nothing too crazy. I started my freshman year in high school or the summer before. But I definitely agree with you. You definitely connect with that group and you stick with them for a while.
Yeah.
And they become a second family because you're in the pool with them for hours on end.
Yeah.
And especially if you're doing club after high school too, it's 8 hours in that day.
Exactly,
It's looking back at it, it was terrible. I mean, doing that long hours and things, and I'm sure have you done club with soccer?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you know that too.
Oh, yeah.
It's a big time commitment. But what I wanted to ask was going from high school to college, how was that transition between the sports and the commitment?
Whoa. That's a really good question. So when I was playing in high school, I was also playing club at the same time. So I was literally practicing like 2 or 3 times a day. And I was like, oh my God, like this is a lot. Like I don't know how I'm going to keep doing this. But I feel like at the Division 3 level, and this may be totally different for you, but it's a lot easier to be involved in so many other things besides just soccer. So for me, we have like those really hard 4 months of like practicing games and everything. But as soon as like we played our last game, it's like done. Like we don't have to worry about that until we get like 3 weeks in the spring. And like NCAA does like regulate how much we practice. But like that's switching, I guess. I mean, you're getting older, your body's kind of wearing down too. So I feel like it's a little bit harder just to practice. But as for time, I feel like I have a lot more free time now than I did in high school. But also definitely playing against older people, more experienced people, like being a freshman and now you have like fifth years and like people who are graduate students playing. Like I was a 18-year-old playing against some 24 and 25-year-olds.
That's so
and I was
scary.
like, this is insane. You know, you normally don't have that in high school. So I guess that was like the roughest part, but I don't know. I'm just glad to have a little bit more free time now, even though now that's
interesting.
studying.
I didn't expect you to have more free time in college. I thought it was the other way around. What about you, Spencer?
Yeah,
What do you think?
I would
That
say
is
about the
surprising.
same because, like in high school, there's club going on. During high school season, there wasn't club, but when you do like off season club and then swim, there's just no time at
Yeah.
all. But there is definitely a little bit more free time. But with that, I feel school has taken up a lot more time than in high school for sure. So there still isn't very much free time, but I like how it is a little bit more laxed. I don't know. It's probably just because it's D3, but with practice and stuff, it's only one practice a day, like 3 hours, and then lifting like twice a week. So it's definitely not as much as rigorous as it was in high school, but there's still that high competitive level, and everybody wants to still thrive and do the best they can. So I don't know. It's just a bit different. You know?
I think from an outsider perspective, I think personally the coolest part about it is how well you're able to maintain like your body health. Because I know myself, like it's just I really want to go to the gym every day, but it's super hard to do that with all schoolwork and involvements, right? But it's kind of part of your schedule already, which I think is really cool. But do you think that's impacted at all how you've interacted with people or your enjoyment in college, just due to the time commitment the sport takes?
I don't think so. For me personally, because during soccer season, I'm so dedicated to soccer for those 3 or 4 months that we play, I don't think I'm missing out on anything, I guess, per se. But I know going to bed at 9 o'clock and then waking up at 5 a.m., people are like, oh my gosh, you're crazy. Like, shouldn't you be studying? But I just know, like, how important it is that I need to get that rest. I need to make sure that I am fueling myself right. Because I know that for a lot of med students or pre-med students, we're all kind of like, oh yeah, we never sleep. Like we're always studying, or like, oh shoot, I haven't had anything besides a coffee today. But for student athletes, I'm sure you would agree, Spencer, is like, we need that. Like we need that sleep. Maybe I won't stay up late and get those extra 2 points for an assignment. Maybe I'll go to bed that day. But I just know that for those 4 months, like this is my life. And afterwards, I'll be able to catch up on all those other things. I don't really feel like I'm missing out on anything.
Yeah, I don't really feel like I'm missing out on anything either because water polo during that time is my family, and I don't really spend any time away from them. Like anytime I'm not studying or doing homework, I'm going to be with them, whether it be like practicing, lifting, or just all hanging out as a team to like build chemistry. But yeah, I don't really feel like I'm missing out on anything. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the one thing about sports that a lot of people tend to miss is it's not only playing the game, it's not only practicing, but also the rest and
Yeah.
eating. That takes up a lot of time.
Oh, yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
I remember after like games or even like practices, you'd knock out like right afterwards for a while.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that also takes up time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wanted to comment too. I think just the idea of perspective is so important because, like, what Spencer said is like how, oh yeah, like, we only have like 3 hours of practice every single day plus lifting, and I was just sitting there, I was thinking, I was like, man, that
too,
sounds
bro.
like so
That's a
much.
lot of time.
Wait, what? 3
yeah.
hours a day? Is that what you said? Oh my god.
Yeah, and I think it's just like the difference in perspective is just like so like important to consider. And then I thought that was really funny how Christina said like, oh, the typical pre-med is like, oh, I only had a coffee today. And it's really kind of funny because I only had like a yogurt today.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so now I'm
not.
here, but yeah, I thought that was really funny.
I'm surviving on a cookie today.
Yeah, yeah, all
You
of
guys
us.
need to eat.
Yeah, I know.
I had
I
a
know.
coffee and a bagel.
Oh my gosh.
The thing is, like, people always say, you guys do so much and all that. But then I look at you guys, I'm just like, do
I
you guys
know.
not see the pre-meds who are also playing sports? Because that
Yeah.
takes up so much time.
Yeah.
And I always tell Spencer, I'm like, I don't even know how you're surviving, dude.
I'm
It's
sitting
crazy.
here now and I'm like, geez, if I had to do that, I don't know how I would do it.
But it's worth it. I mean, it does look good on med school applications to
Yeah.
be playing a sport. So the time is worth it, I feel like.
Yeah.
And especially building the family, getting these experiences. I mean, it builds your morale.
Well,
Yeah.
I feel like you're learning a lot too.
Yeah.
Like I need to make sure that I'm taking care of myself, and a lot of people struggle with doing that. Or I just need to make sure that I'm really good at time managing and planning ahead. If I have a test or something, I don't want to be up late the night
Right.
before I have a game or something.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just so much more
Yeah.
beneficial than just being able to be like, oh yeah, like I played a sport. Like there's so many things, and I'm sure you'd agree like that sports have taught me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Meaningful
Definitely.
spirit experiences that you can even talk about like in an interview for med school. It's really important to have these kinds of extracurriculars, and sports is like a perfect way to do it.
Yeah.
Although I'm really impressed by you guys. Water polo and soccer are two sports that I absolutely suck at, to be honest. I did do swim in high school, and I actually swam a lot when I was a kid. But yeah, I don't think I haven't been very sporty recently, so I'm just really impressed by your guys' like commitment to this stuff.
Yeah,
So-
I think even outside of the medical school application, it's like just I feel like you learn so many life skills in general from sports, like teamwork. And I mean, you guys have already mentioned a bunch of different things, but it's like you learn so many different things by playing sports, like how to take care of yourself, how to time manage. I feel like even outside of like medical school, all that stuff, you still have all these skills that you can take with you for the rest of your life too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to do sports, you're not doing it for the application either.
No.
It's such a
Yeah.
big time commitment that you simply can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, oh,
really
that's true.
it's really a passion.
Yeah.
Of yours. And I think a lot of it too, at least I think one of the reasons I enjoyed it a lot in high school was because of everything I've learned. And one thing I wanted to ask is, how has it taught you guys to manage your time? Because I feel like it's completely different managing your time when you're an athlete than just the average person.
Honestly, just like making sure that like every minute counts. I know that sounds like stupid, but as soon as I like get an assignment, I kind of try to time block how much time it will take me, and I always kind of try to time block like 5-10 minutes over what I think it will. But just literally using any time that I get, like on the bus to away games, I'm using that to study. I'm listening to lectures that I've recorded. I'm doing flashcards, or like if I have 2 minutes to do something, oh maybe I need to take like a survey for class. Just literally using every moment I get. But I do know that most of that is just because I want to go to bed early and I don't want to stay up late.
Sure.
I don't know, just being able to be just really, really efficient, planning ahead, looking at deadlines weeks ahead of time, knowing when like practices are, games are, just trying to use my time as efficiently as possible, I guess.
Is there a lot of leniency with practices? Let's say you have an exam or something. Are you able to be like, oh, I can't make this practice?
No,
How is that taken?
Not
No.
for me.
Really?
Yeah, no, not really.
You never skip practices like for a test or
I've
anything?
never have.
No. Because if you skip practice or something, the coach will also
The
be like,
bench.
yeah,
No,
but you're not gonna
seriously.
play or
Yeah.
Makes sense.
That's fair.
yeah.
Wow, not even for a big exam or nothing? Dang.
No.
So do you guys have practices
Yeah.
during finals week if you had some
No,
game?
there's
They
no
aren't
way
allowed
they do.
to.
No,
No,
they don't.
okay.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Not during finals,
Yeah.
but yeah.
I think the biggest thing too is when you're coming into college and you're thinking of becoming an athlete in college, you already come in knowing it's gonna be a big time commitment. But on top of it, you know that being a pre-med is a big time commitment.
Yeah.
So how do you kind of get over that like barrier and you're like, okay, I could do both? Because you know you need to keep up your grades. You know you need to do all these crazy involvements and volunteer experiences. So how did you get over that, and was there anything specific that helped you get over that?
You can take this one if you want.
Okay. Going into it, I was definitely really scared. I know it was COVID coming in, so at least it was a little bit more laxed because we only had like 2 or 3 practices a week, and it was just like for an hour, like nothing too bad. And then
Was this
all
during
the classes
like
were
during
online.
COVID?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we started playing the next year, and everything started ramping up really fast, which I wish we were practicing the first year because those classes were definitely a lot easier than OChem and 208. So that was definitely a big surprise. And there was a lot of moments where I was like, can I really do this? And like, is it going to be worth sticking with it? But it was definitely worth sticking with it. For all you listeners, I would definitely stick with it. It helps you not only with like time management, but it keeps you sane. Because whenever I'm like practicing or working out, swimming, doing whatever, it helps like clear my head and just keep me focused. Because I feel like I get really distracted easily if I'm not constantly like working out and keeping my head clear. But yeah.
Totally.
That's great.
Yeah,
I definitely feel when that whistle like just blows, everything goes silent, and you're just focused on whatever you're doing during that practice.
Yeah.
And something I wanted to ask, I mean, I know you've done some music stuff too, so you might relate to this as well. But I feel like when it comes to being an athlete, right, kind of that game mentality. When I came into college, I took that on for kind of academics too. Do you guys see yourselves doing that as well?
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm just competitive in everything that I do, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get this grade, and I want to do this, and I totally see myself like using my, I guess, teamwork abilities like in labs that we collaborate in. I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like I'm always trying to push myself to get the best grade possible, or you're always like, oh, I should have studied more or whatever. But as long as I feel like you push yourself as hard as you can, and even if you're not successful sometimes, you're going to get there.
Totally. I remember like whenever you'd miss like that 5-meter shot or something like that, you're like, I should have done extra practice at the end of that one practice, right?
Yeah.
But for this, the same thing goes. Like, let's say you messed up on this one question, then you just push yourself like through the next quiz, right?
Yeah.
And just to do better. And I think it helps you keep yourself accountable throughout those 4 years, because you are under pressure every single day, right?
Yeah.
And that's how being in a sport is. So it's definitely helpful in that sense.
It's really interesting how like playing a sport not only keeps your body healthy, but also keeps your mind healthy, keeps your mind sharp. And I really like what Spencer said earlier about how it just clears his mind and keeps him focused. I feel like coming off of like a workout session or like a swim practice, let me know if this is true, but like you're able to like focus way more on like your course material and like study harder, just because you had that experience beforehand where your mind was clear. You got to relax, but not relax, of course, but but like just clear your headspace, think about the things that you needed to do, study, I guess, like while you were just mindlessly, I guess, working out. I feel like am I on the right track there, Spencer?
No, yeah, you're definitely on the right track, because like when you're working out, I mean, you zone out and you go into your zone and whatever you're thinking. You could be studying when you're like swimming or running or something that you're not like using your brain too much. Not saying that swimming and running is not hard, because it is really hard to do both of those things. But when you're able to just like think about things and you can calm yourself down sort of and like realize what you have in front of you is really not too bad and you're going to get through it. And also working out just, I don't know, it just like gets rid of like all the clogs in your brain or whatever, like, and you're just ready to like attack whatever it is, whether it be homework or an exam after.
I think this is more of like a side note thing. Just thinking about it, I think water polo is one of the best sports in the world, and this is why. Before you start hating on me, because when it's 100 degrees outside, you're in the water. Yeah, you're chilling, you're vibing, right?
What if it's when it's freezing at 5 in the morning?
The thing is,
that's when it starts to suck.
Okay, so when
it's pretty cold right now.
When you first jump in, it sucks, but after like 2 laps of just sprinting, you just like equalize.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like normal. And the water is usually warmer than
outside.
Outside too.
Yeah.
So it's super nice. So I don't know how like in 100-degree weather you're running around and like yelling and stuff. That's just nuts.
That sounds way better to me than water polo. Yeah, it does.
You want to be sweating?
Wow.
Like, no.
It does, bro. I don't know. Maybe because I played baseball and then I also played Frisbee a lot.
Well,
in
you're
high
eating
school.
in the middle of a baseball game.
Eating?
Oh, yeah.
Wait, what?
Right?
Like sunflower seeds.
Yeah, sunflower seeds, and like you're chilling, you're vibing, right?
I mean,
when I watch baseball, that's what I see.
I think a lot of times it's like a lot of times they wear like multiple layers of clothes, and it can be really hot.
That's fair.
Yeah, and soccer players wear like nothing. I mean,
What?
not nothing. But like really loose fitting clothes.
Yeah, okay.
And baseball players wear like really like tight fitting clothes, I guess you could say.
All right, before we start.
Wait. I think
No,
Christina,
no,
I
no,
think
no.
Christina
I
wants to
have two
refute.
things to say. real
Not
quick.
true.
Number one, I think that there's a little bias in the statement about water polo being the best sport ever.
Okay, yeah,
And,
please.
I will say water polo does take a lot of our fans, so I do kind of have a little rift with the water polo team. And the second thing is, I need to remind you guys that I grew up in Colorado and I had to practice in the freezing cold.
That's true.
So as
Okay.
long as it was like, I think 14 degrees, we were allowed to go practice outside.
Oh, God.
So I've
Jeez.
14
seen this. Yeah,
That's
Oh
pretty
my
warm.
gosh.
That's pretty
I
warm.
felt the hot,
Celsius
I
or
felt the
Fahrenheit?
cold.
Bro, I would be sweating. What are you talking about?
God.
It's all about mentality. That's
That's
all I
fair.
have to say.
I feel like once you get into it, though, it's like you kind of.
Yeah, you zone. You're good.
Yeah, you zone out of that. Like, I'm hot, I'm cold type of thing.
Yeah.
But what sucks is when you're sitting on the bench and then it's
Oh,
cold
yeah.
and it's raining.
You would know. You would know what it
That-
is.
oh,
Oh, boy.
yeah.
Roasted.
Yeah,
Oh
I
my
wanna
God.
I wanna interject one little fact is that if you're like fit and you work out and like people who are physically fit and exercise a lot have more dendritic spines on their neurons than people who don't.
Oh.
All this with the
that.
neuron facts.
You learn something every day.
So if that's one reason to exercise, then there you go.
All right. Well, we've definitely touched up on a lot of positives when it comes to playing sports, right? But in your experiences, what has been kind of very challenging with it? Has there been any thoughts where you've thought about maybe dropping the sport or possibly just focusing more on the pre-med aspect of things?
I mean, definitely, like, I would be lying if I said that it's never crossed my mind. I mean, there's been days where I'm just like, man, like, why am I doing this to myself? Like, I'm not going to perform as good on this test as, like, my other peers, I guess, and will this mess up my med school application, everything like that. Or even just getting injured. I got a concussion my third week of freshman year here, and I was like, okay, this is great. Like, why am I even playing soccer anymore? Like, this is going to put me out for a few weeks. And it's just kind of those moments where, like, you get injured, or it's maybe you're just, like, losing a lot. I don't know really how to explain it, but it's just where it feels more like a chore than something that you love. But I feel like at the end of the day, when I just, like, look around and see the people that I'm literally, like, battling next to, it makes it more worth it. But it definitely has crossed my mind before.
Totally.
Yeah, it's definitely crossed the mind before, especially in the beginning. Like the first year getting started and not really knowing anyone, not really knowing how much work it was going to be pre-med and do that and to do sport. And it does suck when you don't do as well on a test and you weren't able to study more because you didn't have the time. And you see other people and they're doing like much better on the tests or have much better grades in certain classes. And that's definitely like, it sucks to see that, but you have to just realize that like you're on your own path and everything will end up being fine, and still love playing water polo, so I'm not going to just leave it and ditch it,
For sure. No, I think if you look at the majority of applicants, how many are actually athletes? There's just such a small percentage of students that are coming into med school that are athletes, right? And that helps you, in my eyes, it really helps you set yourself apart from everyone else. Because everyone else is coming in with like the volunteer experience, clinical and all that, right? And at the end of the day, that kind of dilutes the pool. But then once you have like athletes, right, you have such different stories and experiences than all of us that I think that kind of gives you a step up in a way. But one thing I wanted to ask, and this is something I was curious about, is because I thought about playing sports in college, but I was like, once I go to med school, what's the point? Like, I'm not going to be playing that sport again.
Yeah.
Right? So how do you guys go about that? Because to me, it's like, why play a sport now if you're not going to be able to play it professionally later or even during med school?
Are you ready for the end of your sporting career?
Oh, absolutely not. Are you kidding me? I'm never going to stop
You're
playing
never
soccer.
stopping? Okay.
No, absolutely not. I think it just comes down to how much you really love it, because I love soccer so much, and I think that's brought me so many good people. But also, when I was looking at some med schools, they have little club teams of med
really?
school. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Students that play soccer, and it's just trying to get those kids to just make sure that they're still having fun. Like, it's not all just studying. So I'm like, okay, it's not going to go away completely. I'll probably play co-ed, and I'll definitely come back for the alumni games. But I mean, it's not like it just stops. Like, you don't just stop loving a sport. Like, watching the World Cup recently, I don't know if you guys have been watching it, but it's just like, even then.
Dude,
just,
are you seeing this?
Yeah, I did text Mo that. But you don't really lose the sport ever. Like, sure, you won't be able to play at the college level again, but you're still going to still have it in some facet of your life.
Totally.
Yeah. I don't think I'll really abandon it. Because, I mean, there isn't very many places where it'll be easy to play water polo after, like, playing in college. Because there are, like, master programs, but there's not very many, you know? So it will be hard to find places to play if I go to med school, like, somewhere on either East Coast or in the Midwest or something like that. But I'm always going to try and swim and, like, keep myself in shape. Because I always have, like, swam and tried to, like, keep myself in shape so I can keep my head clear. Because without it, I start to, like, go crazy.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Totally. I think the best part about it, too, is the highlights you get from water polo. No, from, I think, the chlorine and the sun. Anyways, what?
Oh, highlights in your
Oh,
hair.
your hair, yeah.
Highlight tape, not
Yeah, that's what I thought
no.
immediately.
Yeah, hair
Yeah.
highlights.
I thought he was like talking about clips. I was
Yeah.
like,
No, because I would go get like a haircut, and at the salon, the ladies would be like, "Oh, like who did your highlights?" I'm like, "Oh, the pool."
cool. God.
Your hair just starts turning white and falling out. You know?
No, but I got really lucky with it. It was like a perfect color. Anyways, it went away, so it doesn't matter. But one thing I wanted to touch up on too is a lot of us, at least I know us three, we do a lot of volunteering, a lot of clinical hours and things like that. Do you guys see that as kind of a struggle for you? If it is, how do you guys plan on maybe making it up in the future, or do you guys have any plans for that? How do you explain that during an interview or on your medical school application?
Yeah.
I mean, we have our season and we have our few weeks of out of season practices, and I mean, there's still so much time. I know that we were just talking about how I volunteer at my church a lot, and that's something completely different from volunteering at a hospital or something like that. But there's so many opportunities during the summer to shadow during interterm. Like, we have that entire month. We can do whatever we want. And sure, some people will have so many hours, but I think that it's more the quality of those hours that you get. If I'm shadowing a clinician that I really think highly of for 2 weeks out of my summer, I think that's a lot more beneficial than maybe doing nothing at a hospital but working the entire summer. So I think it's more about the experiences you get out of it than how many that you get.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Playing the sport definitely takes up a lot of time. And then there's also the off-season practices and stuff, which makes it kind of hard to be able to, like, get involved with another program or something like the COPE. I know that you guys do that.
Yep.
But I do want to try and make it up over the summer and, like, try and do something over this summer. Or I know I'm going to probably try and do, like, a gap year in between and then do, like, a bunch of, like, stuff in between there and maybe do, like, ER tech or something like that for a year and then study for MCATs and do the test.
Okay.
But I was thinking about doing something like that or just doing an internship over the summer, something like that. I was going to try and do the COPE thing, but it wasn't able to really, like, fit in the schedule.
Are you studying for the
That's
MCAT
really
this
fun.
summer?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I'm going to.
I think we all are.
Yeah.
Well, taking gap year is a great idea to
Yeah.
catch up on those experiences. You're taking 2 gap years?
Probably just one.
Oh, just one?
Yeah, maybe 2. We'll see.
Okay.
Depends on if I get in or not.
All right, that's
Christina, I
always
think
fair.
you're not planning on doing a gap year, are you?
I'm not.
Yeah. I mean, how do you even do that with such a busy schedule?
Well, that's the thing. We're still in the process of figuring that out. I tried to orient my schedule in a way where if I needed to take a gap year, I mean, it could be possible. Right now, I'm just looking to go straight into it. But then again, as I talk to more people, they're like, dude, you're an athlete and a student. You're going to need just a year to get your body back in shape before
Yeah.
you're going to go jump into that. So still kind of up in the air on that, but right now I'm not planning to.
Cool. I mean, just to give just the general audience an idea, let's say a high schooler is thinking about playing sports once they get into college. What type of extracurriculars are you involved in? And what are some ways you've been able to do shadowing, things like that?
I can go first. So right now at Chapman, I am part of the Student Government Association.
Senator.
I'm senator in Bowdoin. Thanks to Mo for that. I'm also part of the first aid team and welcome Nathan.
Nice. Yeah. I'm on the first aid
yeah.
team, in case anybody knows.
His
First
first
aid team
meeting was a
reveal.
party, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
believe
hype.
Super fun. And
He had one of the best gifts, by the way.
Oh, right.
He brought the blanket. One that got stolen
Oh.
like twice or something.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Thanks
then
for the shout out.
also a tour guide here. So I'm doing quite a few things, but I do find joy a lot in all of those, and you can still do those things in high school. I know that going into this interview, question that we were asked was like, what changed going from high school to college? You can still do all of those things that you do in high school and college. It's all about what you're passionate about, because you'll make time for what you're passionate about, as well as for shadowing opportunities. Honestly, just reach out to people. I reached out to my pediatrician that I had when I was little, and she was like, oh, sure, you're more than welcome to follow me. Or even just looking at doing an EMT, something like that. There's so many opportunities available for you. And I think first aid provides you with a lot too,
100%.
I would say.
Yeah. Right now I'm only doing water polo, but I do want to do the first aid team. I wanted to
Yeah.
get involved with that because I got my EMT same time as you guys over the summer.
That takes up so much time.
Yeah, that took up like the whole summer, but it was definitely worth it. I would recommend doing that. But I do want to get involved with a couple more things. I feel like it would be really beneficial.
So, I mean, you still have time. You're only a
Yeah.
junior, right? And I think the biggest thing that I got from both of you was try to get involved within your school. So you don't have to like worry about the commuting time or anything like that.
Yeah.
There's so many opportunities. You just have to like look for them.
Yeah.
And I know Chapman has so many opportunities that sometimes it's so hard to find them. So I think a lot of it, just ask professors, ask, I don't know, your bosses of previous works and things like that. And I'm sure they're going to have connections.
Yeah.
One thing I want to ask is, how do you balance like having like playing a sport and being pre-med, but then also having like a social life to keep you sane?
The sports
is
are
that-
their
is that a
social
thing?
life.
Yeah, like I
Because
know
we can barely
That's what that
balance
is.
being pre-med and having a social life. And you guys
No,
have
we,
3 of them.
what social life?
Yeah.
we're friends, guys.
Okay, it's us 3. That's the social life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, during season, I do not really have a social life, but I also feel like I do because of my team.
Right.
But
I mean,
and-
you're doing the presentation night thing.
Hmm?
The presentation night thing that you're talking about?
Oh yeah, I have a
that's, I mean, that's like a
presentation
cool
night tonight.
thing.
But that is outside of season too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, during season, no social life. Like I'm in bed by 9, guys. Like we know this by now. But outside of season, it's just like, you know, your friends. You don't have to talk to them every single day to still be friends with them. And I'm sure you've experienced that, especially with friends that you've met in high school and then don't go to the same school as you. Like honestly, they're always gonna be there, and like even if it's just like a text back and forth like during the day, I mean, you just maintain them, and then outside of season I feel like you build them up more. I don't know, it might be different for you guys.
No, yeah, I definitely agree with that. During season, there's like 0 social life.
Yep.
But that social life is also sort of like being with your friends at practice and stuff. That's, I guess, the social aspect. And then maybe like one weekend, like a month or one day in the weekend a month, maybe go out, hang out with the team.
Yeah.
It sounded so sad when you said that. Like,
He's like, does it actually happen? What?
'Cause it doesn't really happen, which is sad. 'Cause I feel really bad, and I want to go out and hang out with them, but I know I have other obligations to attend to. So I have my goals and what I want to do. So I'm gonna do whatever I can to get there. But during the off season, there's a little bit more time. I'm not gonna say there's a lot of social life time, but it's a little bit more. So it is good to balance both. You need to be able to get out and hang out with friends and have a little bit of a break, you know. But it is really hard to balance.
Totally. And I have one last question for you guys before I hand it to you, and I want to open up the floor for you guys to ask us questions if you have any. I feel like the sports, right, we've already said it builds character, it builds so many things. How do you feel that will help you make an impact on medicine in the future?
I'd say for especially what I want to do with ER or even just something in that realm, just being able to be under pressure and like constantly under pressure and be able to be okay with things, like being able to make decisions so quickly in like a span of minutes, being able to think ahead of things. I just think that's so beneficial, especially for the career path that I want to do. And just being able to have that community where these girls that I've met this year are literally going to be people that are probably going to be at my wedding. Like my coaches are like some of my biggest mentors. They've helped me through so many different things. I just feel like going into the future, regardless of if I even end up in medicine, hopefully, fingers crossed, there's just so many people and experiences that they've shaped me who I am. So I know that they're going to shape how I am in the medical field as well.
I actually never thought about that perspective, having mentors who are coaches, because that's completely different than having a researcher as your mentor or even a professor, you know? So that's really cool.
Yeah.
Great answer, by the way.
I would agree with you. Yeah, I mean, I was going to say pretty much the same things. I would bring in, like, it helps with making decisions under pressure for sure. And time management, which is a big thing. Being able to try and balance once you get into med school and become a doctor, whatever you want to be, and balance that like at home life with your work life. I feel like that's really important, and being able to like build a bond with your family and spend time with your family is really important, and that's really important to me. So I think that'll help me in the future.
I mean, yeah, you definitely hear that a lot where doctors are like, I don't have enough time to see my family.
Yeah.
So building that skill now, I'm sure, is going to help you guys tremendously in the future.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever thought about possibly coaching?
Yes.
During med school or anything like that?
Yeah, for sure.
I think that'd be pretty cool. Like just working with kids, I think that could kind of transition to medicine too.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like pediatrics or something if you guys are interested in that. Do you guys have any other questions?
No, I just think it's interesting. Like, you can really draw like something to take to medicine from a lot of different extracurriculars. Like sports, obviously you have that team aspect. Working with a team is really important. And then I really liked what you said about awareness. When you're, if you do like ER, it's really everything happening at once. You have to see your teammates on one side of the field doing their thing and jump in where you can. A lot of that applies. So you can really relate so much to medicine.
But also you get the athlete kind of mentality. So whenever you are like working with athletes who are injured, you know what they're going through. So you're not simply going to be like, make sure you don't walk on your leg, right? You know they're going to walk on their leg, right? So you're better able to kind of like make your treatment towards that mentality, right? And just best suit them.
Yeah.
And I think in that way, they're able to trust you a little more because they know that you're not just some doctor who doesn't know what they're dealing with. They know you've gone through that, right? Yeah. And I think that's what makes it super awesome and very distinguishable.
Yeah, you're not some nerd like the rest of us, like us three.
No, we're still nerds.
They're athlete nerds.
Yeah.
Cool. One thing I wanted to ask is, say there's someone who's a student athlete pre-med who is struggling right now with keeping up with being a pre-med, also being an athlete, like struggling with any aspect of it. What tips or what advice would you give them or would you tell them like right now?
I tell them to not be afraid to ask for help. And I know everyone says stuff like that, but seriously, like my coaches have been some of the biggest resources for me, saying like, hey, we do grade checks. Do you guys do grade checks?
No.
Oh, well, we do
we
grade
have the worst,
checks.
We have the worst overall GPA for all the sports.
Okay.
But they have the best audience, though.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Well, anyway, we do grade checks, and our coaches are really, really passionate about making sure that we are performing as well on in the classroom as we are on the field. And I feel like just being able to ask for help, whether it be a professor, a coach, even just like your friend, to make sure that you're, number one, okay going through everything. But number two, just making sure that you've exhausted every single resource that you've been able to. If I'm struggling with a class, my coach will probably be like, hey, kid, like, go in with this tutor. Like, I know that there's so-and-so. Or they'll link me to like an older teammate who maybe has really succeeded in that class. I just say, like, don't be afraid to ask for help. Like, if anything, it makes you stronger.
Just to clarify, like, what is a grade check?
Okay, so basically, halfway through the season, you get a piece of paper, and you have to go in to each of your professors and say, hey, this is a grade check. Can you write down what my average grade is for the class, my average score on tests, if I'm present in class, what my participation's like, and if you have any extra comments. So it's like a whole meeting.
They don't just like look at your canvas? Like...
No, they make you go have a conversation.
Wow.
And
That's
then,
actually good.
I'm glad you asked that question, because I was not getting that. That's crazy.
Yeah, so they really make
do that
sure.
for your sport.
We probably should do that.
You have the worst GPA. Oh my god.
Yeah. But I mean, it's really helpful. I mean, I kind of like hearing that feedback from my professors too. But it's also important if you're missing classes for like games or whatever, and maybe your professor's like mad at you for missing a class. If you're not present in that class to begin with, I mean, really, like you're gonna expect to be able to get away with that.
Yeah.
So coach just wants to make sure we're good with that.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't have grade checks. Wait, what was the question again?
Yeah,
It was basically if someone's struggling right now and they're doing doing a sport, what would you tell them?
Power through it, because it is all worth it in the end. There's definitely going to be moments where you're going to doubt yourself, and it's going to be really hard. You just got to pick yourself up and just keep going. If you still enjoy the sport, just keep playing it, and you'll eventually find that balance and figure out how to be successful in both. The first year is always going to be really hard, but if you're struggling in the successive years, then just keep pushing and ask your teammates for help. They're there for you. Even your peers, everybody's there for you. Everyone's here to help. A lot of the time, a lot of my teammates help me too, because I have one of my teammates is a senior and he's a bio major, and I've asked him about classes and stuff and how to get through them, and that's helped a lot. But yeah, just keep doing what you're doing, and it'll all work out.
That's a really cool thing about it, right? You have freshmen, sophomores, seniors, juniors, right?
Yeah.
They've all taken different classes. Some have taken the classes you're taking next semester. You're able to ask them about the different professors, their teaching styles, what to look out for, things like that, right? And that gives you an up too.
Yeah.
Because you're already on a back foot in a way because of the time commitment you have to put with sports. And I think you should definitely take advantage of that. I remember I used to do that in high school, and it was a ton of help. But yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned missing classes. How often do you have to miss class? Just curious.
I missed a lot this year just because our games you're going Wednesdays too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, our games are on Wednesdays, and sometimes they'll be at 4 p.m., sometimes they'll be at 7 p.m.
Yeah.
So if I have any afternoon classes and we're busing somewhere, like I'll literally miss that Wednesday class probably about
Dang.
4 or 5 times a semester.
Yeah.
And then going out of state too. I don't know if you guys
You
travel.
just have to fly,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, like you'll miss like your Thursday, Friday, even your Monday
Wow.
classes potentially.
Wow.
But
That's
that's only
crazy.
for one weekend, so it's not too bad. But still, you're losing that weekend, and you're actually
It's a lot of time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't even like miss. If I think about missing one class, I'm just like, oh my god, like what am I gonna do?
Imagine a whole
Yeah.
like
So,
4 or
yeah.
5 days. That's crazy.
Yeah, I remember Spencer, we sat next to each other in 208, and Dr. Shu always asked you, how was your game, water polo, because you had missed the last class or whatever. But you always were there when you could be.
Yeah.
So that's what the important thing is.
Yeah.
So
Definitely
Alright.
makes it so you can't miss any other classes than those times.
Oh,
It sucks missing class though so much.
Especially with like a topic, for example, biochem, right?
Yeah.
That just builds on itself, right? And
Yeah.
that's just hard. Even OChem and
Yeah.
Bio 208.
Yeah.
Basically every class.
It was hard. 'Cause
Yeah.
I remember it was like the first biochem midterm, and we were gone like Friday, Saturday,
Oh,
Sunday
man.
in Colorado.
no way,
And
I
it's
can't imagine.
so hard to study for it, like on the plane and in
Dang.
the car. It was tough.
Yeah, and your teammates too. They're
Dude.
like
Yeah,
doing
like-
other stuff. But
They're
I feel
like,
like they
"Oh, come
they respect us as some,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
get it.
But I mean, if you get through this and do well in undergrad with a sport, that's gonna help you out so much in
Yeah.
medical school, right? And I think that's what makes it. Really
Also, it's pretty
magical.
hardcore to be studying on an airplane while all of the rest of your team are like just having fun screwing around.
Oh yeah.
Like, I feel like that's pretty badass.
Yeah, it's hard. You see how everyone like all laughing and like doing whatever.
I'm
Some-
watching
It's
movies.
hard, but like,
and you're doing this mechanism,
No,
like
yeah.
pushing
Cool.
arrow mechanism.
I'm like, what are these amino acids?
oh man, memorizing them.
So- But I mean, that builds memories, right? You're gonna
Yeah.
look back at this time and you're gonna be super happy you did it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wanted to ask you guys. Do you guys have any questions for us?
I actually have a question, and this can be for anybody. But do you guys realize like how important it is to take care of like your health and your sleep and make sure you're taking care of your body? Like, do you notice any difference when you are versus when you're not?
So
Yes.
over the past summer, after we finished Physics 1, we had like a lot of free time for the rest of our summer, and I was like, okay, you know, I'm getting a little chunky. Like I should probably go. I should probably go work out a little bit. And so I started to work out more, like pretty consistently. I think there was like a few times where I was going like a few days in a row. And I noticed, I think that I was like, you know, I don't know if it was the fact that I just didn't have school, but I felt like happier. I felt like I was able to enjoy more things, and like I felt like it was like a good thing for me to do. And I've been wanting to try to do it more. Haven't really been able to be super consistent with things, but I've been more consistent at least than I was last year. So
that's good.
Yeah, I think it's definitely helping. And one thing is that I think about these things like, oh, you know, dendritic spines, if it help, like blah, 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 like all that crap, and I think just like, you know, it's in some ways it's gonna help me, like by training like my body, or like by being physically fit, it'll help me with school in some way, whether or not I actually see it come into fruition.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't really work out, but like eating healthy, just being active
Moving
in
that
general.
chest block?
Oh yeah, right. On the
working
chessboard,
out,
for sure.
He's like, I got
Start
huge
weighing him down,
biceps.
start weighing him
I got
down.
huge biceps 'cause my chest.
It's working out your mind, dude. You know, you're doing stuff. Also, chess players lose like a ton of calories during games. That's a true fact. So
Is it now?
Oh, I didn't know that. Was it from stress or like?
Yeah.
No, it's just like your brain uses as much energy as your body, and you end up like losing a lot of calories. Grandmasters who play games, like they work out basically while just playing like a 3-4 hour game of chess, and it's like a full workout.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Well, the games are that long normally. But anyway, I
How
don't.
do you think Nathan stays so fit?
No.
I guess I need to start playing chess.
No, bro. I'm not that fit, but I do try to eat healthy and stay active in general, not getting too lazy, and just that, like, if I ever find myself getting lazy, like sleeping in too much or just like not getting up for a long amount of time, like sitting on the couch or something, absolutely I feel that. And in my classes, I'm less motivated, and while studying, I focus. I'm less focused, and so it just takes that little amount of effort putting into your body, you know, doing the basic hygiene stuff, staying active and everything, and it helps a lot. So
Basic hygiene is good.
Oh well, duh.
Yeah, good.
No, I would definitely say it does make a difference, and the reason for this is because, like, yeah, I'm excited for the break, but the reason I'm excited for break to come is because I'm gonna be able to go to the gym again, like every single day, and I have like this planned out thing that I want to do, and I started it last summer. So during the summer, I was like going to the gym every single day, and the best part about it is like you would go, then you would do like your routine, right? And every week you'd PR, right? And that was so nice and like just motivating.
I want this workout plan.
Dude,
I think it's when you're first starting out.
No, it was like for 3 months straight. It was like, and you push yourself like a crap ton, right? And you meet people who are doing like crazy things too at the gym, and you start asking them how they do it, and they start helping you out too. It's just such a good time, and you just go for like 2 hours and just do your thing.
Yeah.
And you don't think about anything else unless it's physics and you're doing your flashcards. But
But-
we won't talk about that. But I'm just super pumped about it, and I know for next semester it's definitely something I want to implement within my school schedule.
Yeah.
Because it did make a difference. And like coming into junior year, I just felt a lot happier coming into junior year than compared to sophomore year, where it was just straight up like EMT school, and then sophomore year. So it's definitely something I plan on doing and I hope to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Anything else?
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna work out next semester a lot. My schedule's a lot
Come to
more.
That's what you
24.
said last semester.
Bro, but this semester was so busy, though. Like, this was a really busy semester.
Look at
Yeah,
them, bro. Look at them.
I can't.
They're
Okay,
doing
I'm not gonna look at them. They're like
Lena was so busy.
they're superhuman, bro. I can't do what they're doing.
They drink different
No,
water.
it's-
breathe
it's
different
just
oxygen
too
or
much.
Something. Yeah. But a segment we do have on Theory Premed is what is the most pre-med thing to say? But today we'll switch it up to what is the most pre-med athlete thing to say. So I'll give that to you guys. Putting you guys on the spot.
Is it like a word or?
A
could be a
sentence, a
phrase,
phrase,
anything.
whatever you find like people who are pre-med around you saying a lot. Like, it's just like a stereotype kind of thing.
I'd say.
It's kind of hard to think about on
It's
the spot.
hard, yeah.
we've noticed.
One that someone isn't pre-med, they would say mitochondria is the powerhouse. of the sun.
I'd agree with that.
I like
It
the
is a
one.
powerhouse.
I like the one where he said that he was like studying on a plane
That's
Yeah.
for the
Right?
weekend for the first
That's
biochem
true.
midterm.
studying on a
Or
plane.
missing 4 days of your school. That's crazy. I don't know.
It's not
It's
that
not
crazy.
fun.
Come on.
No, because as like I feel like a lot of pre-med.
that's- I
yeah.
agree.
Oh
I
wait,
think
I
that's
thought of
crazy.
something that we
All right.
say a lot.
Let's hear it.
I can't. I have to study.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's universal.
Absolutely.
And
But our
props to you
teammates
guys.
respect that
Yeah.
now.
That's
so
good.
It's
Awesome.
good.
Yeah. They do.
Now?
Yeah.
It's like while you're at on the bench, it's like flashcards. Have you done that?
No.
There's no way.
I'd say like the only crazy thing I've done is I had to run and I put on one of my OChem
Lectures.
YouTube videos
Oh no.
and was listening
While
to
running?
it while I was running on the treadmill.
Yikes.
So
Cool. Okay, well, thank you so much for coming out. We really appreciate both of you and for taking the time out of your busy schedules. Before we head out, is there anything you would like to tell the audience?
Plug socials, whatever.
Anything you want. It could be motivational. It could be your socials. Whatever you want.
Don't get discouraged, and whatever your goal is or whatever you want to do, if you keep working towards it, you'll eventually get there. So just don't give up.
100%.
Awesome.
couldn't have
Christina?
said it better myself. Keep pushing. Good things will happen.
Yep.
Thank
All right.
you guys so much for coming out.
Thank
You
Yeah,
were
you
great
guys.
guests.
I was
For sure.
excited to actually come on because I remember I watched you guys' first couple episodes right when you guys started. And I was like,
It's almost a year ago.
Yeah.
No, it's coming up. The 1 year.
Our
Right.
anniversary.
Oh,
That's
something-
next month,
yeah.
right?
No, it's in January. Yeah. What was
Wow.
it? January like 20 something?
I don't know.
Or was it in February? I don't know. We'll have
Maybe
to
it was
look up.
February.
I think it might have been
February,
February because
yeah.
I remember it was up on the board.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
okay.
true.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
true.
And then I was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, they're starting the podcast. I gotta
Uh-huh.
We
listen
should
to it.
do another mural in Kent.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're changing up. So, like, the season, or at least the way I'm planning it is at the end of January, on our anniversary, I guess, or 1 year anniversary, all our socials and, like, just the theme of it will change into, like, whatever we plan on doing.
Revamping.
Yeah, revamp.
Alright.
Cool.
Taking the next step. So we'll see how that goes. It'll become season 2, which is exciting. But something even more exciting is something happened last Wednesday, this past Wednesday at 10 p.m.
Let's let Nathan figure it out.
Yeah, let's see if
He's
Nathan
a little
figures it out.
struggle on his face. Think about your Wednesday. What'd you do on Wednesday?
Oh, we got award. We got an award.
Oh,
We're 4-time award winners now on the podcast. So great job to
Yeah.
all of us.
Thanks
I
for
guess.
voting
And
for
this
us,
wouldn't be possible
peoples.
without our amazing guests and audience. So thank you all for supporting us. We really appreciate it. And as always, make sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, really everything at Theory Premed. And of course, episodes every Tuesday at 8 a.m. Have an amazing week and good luck on finals.